I was very, very depressed and I was suicidal. I didn't want to be here. And when you're in high school especially and you're being bullied, you believe that it's going to be like that forever and you're never going to get over it. So I was born with apraxia of speech, and the simplest way to describe apraxia of speech is that the pathway between my brain and my mouth isn't there. My parents were told at the age when I was 2 years old that I would never speak. I would never be able to communicate with anyone else. So because of that, I also developed anxiety and depression in high school. So I've dealt with both mental illness as well as a speech condition.
And unfortunately, she really took a beating. Like, she was really seriously bullied almost instantly because she sounded different. And because she tried so hard, I think people got the wrong impression from her that, you know, that maybe she didn't understand them or whatever, but they just really didn't get her. And it was sad. It was sad to watch.
In the 9th grade, I was bullied by a teacher. I believe a lot of it was because of my speech impediment, that I was someone different. She was telling me things that I didn't belong. She would call me a retard, and I didn't want to be here. I had suicidal thoughts. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to be myself. I was ashamed to speak.
It was a struggle for sure. Once she started pageantry, it changed that. So that was kind of the moment where she got some more confidence. Plus she started to peer tutor, so she was helping children that had different disabilities. And although she didn't ever stand up for herself to the bullies, she started standing up to them for these other kids.
And a big part of the pageant world is you have to speak on your platform. And I went on that stage and I spoke about being bullied. And at that point I didn't even mention my speech impediment or my disability. I just spoke about being bullied, and people listened. It gave me confidence because I was able to stand up to the bullies and show them that, like, okay, what you say is not true. And I can do amazing things with my life and I can make a difference regardless of what somebody has told me or somebody has said about me.
Watching how Sam has gone from somebody that was very, in a very dark place in her teenage years to somebody that's very successful now in all aspects of her life, really, has just been great as a parent. It's what you want for your children. And to know that she's changing the world in such a good, positive way, I couldn't be more proud.
Yeah, so I founded Be Someone's Hero Not a Bystander in 2015. So I've been featured in several magazines with Be Someone's Hero Not a Bystander. So I've gone to elementary schools and high schools to teach children about what bullying actually looks like and what to do when we see bullying. Who's this?
An elephant!
Who is it? So the biggest thing is in 2022, I founded Raising Stars Preschool, which was a dream come true to give all children, regardless of background, whether it's religious, disability, family status, any type of background, a place where they can have quality education. So to be able to create a very inclusive space is probably my favorite way to give back. But on top of that, I've also been able to speak and walk in places and to be able to travel all over North America and share my story and how we can make a difference, and most importantly, how we can include each other.
Sam's really good at how she speaks to the children about the subject and how she tells them, we all have hearts, we all have feelings, we all want love. We may look different and act different, but basically we're all the same because we all have that heart that needs the same thing.
So I think social media is a very powerful tool that I've been able to use to reach out to people from all over the world to make a difference. I use my public figure pages to show individuals that a disability does not define you. One of my favorite things to say is I have apraxia, but apraxia does not have me. I've come to terms now that I will always have what's called the apraxia accent, and that's why I do sound a little different. Well, I have spoken at the, they call it the National Apraxia Conference, but it's kind of the North American Apraxia Conference, so I've been able to speak at that conference. as well as work with different speech-language pathologists. I support them quite often. I work with them to create a youth support system, because once these children become teenagers, especially with apraxia, you're kind of sometimes trying to dwindle down a lot of these charities and a lot of these supports.
I think her greatest achievement is overcoming her teenage years, because it was so hard. As much as she cried all day, I cried all night, and I know what she went through, and it was pretty bleak. Like, she was able to turn something really awful into something super positive.
So I really want to work, especially with the government and with other major entities, about how we can support children with disabilities and how we can look for bullying in these settings to help these children that are in these very, very dark spaces. Because I know what it's like to be in those dark spaces. I can still make a difference regardless of my disability.